Hey guys, so back into this thing. It's the day after the last video. My head's a little bit clearer, I'm back in the right place. I've pulled the truck out. It was sitting across the front of the shed with some blankets thrown over it, not really much protection, but for 3.5 months it's been sitting there. So a bit of surface rust on the cross member, in the frame rails, lots of spider webs, bit of dust, that sort of thing. I've got back into doing this front end. You would have seen from the last video, it's now getting airbags. So I'm going to, I've been working on trying to get this these arms as low as, well, to lift as high as I can, so that the when it's on full drop on the bags, it's really low. I've taken a reasonable amount more out of this cut through here, this pie cut. I've trimmed a lot more out of here, and the video before the last one, the second truck video, you could see I had clearance issues here, through here, and up underneath here, but I've trimmed all that out. So I've been concentrating that side today. You can see that arm's quite up in the air. This one here, however, in the background, this side I haven't touched at all. I haven't done any notching. I've started marking for a pie cut, but I haven't taken anything out of it. And the reason for that, A, because of the doing one side first, making sure I get it all right before I take the other side. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to show you this side. Big pie cut, lots of trimming and adjusting. Had it right up in the air. Side is all I've done is taken the cuts out of the rails so I can slide the cross member in. Nothing else has been touched. No notching under here. This clamp is not touching the arm. It's resting on the jack and is pushed up as far as it'll go. So there's the sill. We can see how it lines up with the sill panel. So if we come back here, you've got untouched, no notching, no pie cuts. If over this side, doesn't wait, this fella up here. Huge change. So you can see how that hub, the center of that hub, does sit above the rail, which is ridiculous. The height from the center of this to the frame rail down here is 450 from memory. This side is 210, so 240 mil difference. It is getting 20s, 20 by 8s on the front. The back ones are considerably larger, but don't worry about that just yet. So the 2.3, so if I go with a 235 35/20 tire, that's 670 odd outside diameter, 670 mils outside diameter, 330 something radius. So I've been trying to work out where the tires are going to sit, or wheels are going to sit, when this is at full, when the body's fully dropped. The cross member under here, that's 90 mil from this, and that distance there, I'll double check, but I think at the moment with the tire, with this sitting at this height, the bottom of the tire is 70 mil off this, so that means when this arm is sitting where it is, the cross member is 20 mil off the ground. The cross member does sit quite a bit lower than the main rails at the front here, but I think I can't go much. I can't go any lower than that, so that's what it's going to be with the guard on. That is very low. It's hard to see from where I'm sitting with no wheel on there, but if the thumbnail from the second video, I think it was, with the guard on, you can see how where the wheel sits, and I have lifted it another 50 odd mil at least today. So it's progressing nicely. So pick up the steering rack, do all the trimming on the side to match the other side, get this arm sitting at the same height, and then pull the cross member out, clean it all up, make it real nice, clean the inside of the rails, and then get that front end welded in, the main section of it, and then it's the uprights and upper arms, that sort of thing. So I'll carry on with that and see how it goes. Wish me luck. Some of you guys might recognise this place. Mark from Iron Empire. Here's his little pad. Awesome place out in the bush. Let's brought the Colorado out for a drive. He's graciously donated a steering rack out of this Falcon. Now, this is a AU Series 1, so I'm not entirely sure it's what I need, but it bolts in the same, and it's the same length and everything. The splines on the shaft might be different, on the input shaft, but for what I need it for mocking up suspension, that sort of work, this should be good. So there's the man himself over there looking busy. One of the few moments he's not doing car stuff. But yeah, I'll get on with this, pull this out, and then go from there. Back from the day after a successful adventure to Mark from Iron Empire's place. As I said earlier, picked up a steering rack out of a AU Series 1 for some trial fitting for this. I slapped it in when I got home last night. I didn't think that was worth recording. But I'll just turn this around and we'll have a look at where I'm at with and what I've discovered with this. My main concern with having the lower control arms up on this angle was steering rack clearance. Now I haven't got the ball joints all timed up, that's going to make a difference in height, but with the rack bolted in and the wheel turned on a reasonable angle, I could put a wheel on there and turn it right round, but on full lock, so I was worried about tie rods clearancing arms. So tie rod clearance, now I've got everything sitting loosely on there, and without the top arms in place, the stub axle's not going to be exactly where I need it to work this out anyway, but this gives me a fair idea of what's going on. The rack's sitting against the cross member, how it's not bolted up tight, but I can see under there it's sitting hard up against it. The ball joint's most of the way up into here. This ball joint's sitting pretty good, but the angle of the stub here is not right. So this is going to require like proper fit up of all the top mounts, all the rest of the framework on the front for the coilovers, that sort of thing, or airbags, before I finalize this. But we've just got, it's just touching on the frame rail here, it's just contacting in this patch. The arm is at full travel, so it is literally touching the frame underneath, so it's not going to go any higher than this. This just kind of blows my mind that this rack can angle up this much to suit this, so very pleasantly surprised with that one. And as it spins around, it clears more, so I think with minimal notching through this section, which I'll just grind out a bit and weld in a nice piece of like curved pipe section or something in there, and maybe, well, I will trim out here as well just to make sure everything's 100%. With the size of the wheel I'm running, the 20s, I can't see myself, I can't see using full lock at full drop on this thing anyway. Tire clearance just won't be there. But at ride height, or a little bit lower than ride height, cruise height, looks like everything's going to work. So that's a massive bonus. That's one thing that's been bothering me, I suppose, this whole time I've been away, is that one bit of that one little clearance issue, not knowing if that rack will actually go up to where I need it. So that's a huge relief. So I'm going to change out of this, one of my favorite shirts, put some work gear on, and I'm going to continue. I'm going to take the rack back out and continue cleaning up this side, that pie cut, make sure that's all good. I won't do the notch for the tie rod until I've pretty much completed the whole front end, and everything's solidly bolted up. All the steering components are bolted up, the suspension components, the control arms. So then I know exactly what I need, and that'll be an easy one once everything's in place. So let's get on with this. So I've done the pie cut on the driver's side here. This side I've gone to straight to doing the big cut. If we go back to, let's see if I can put it in there, if we go back to the initial pie cut I did on the other side, for the first fitment it was only a really small area, and I just folded this little bit up here. This one's considerably bigger. The front one's still the same, that's okay, that's not an issue, but this one, yeah, I've cut all the way back to here instead of about here-ish. But I'll see if I can splice that in. Just trim the legs off a little bit. I've still got to match this up to the other side, so this is the same as the cut I did originally on the other one, and I've trimmed a whole lot more out around to clear that lower control arm. This side will need to be done as well, so I'll get some cardboard and copy the ones on the other side, go back this side, match that up. I'll fold this up. I'll do a quick check with the lifting the cross member back up into place. If that's cool, I'll drop it, I'll clean up, I'll chamfer all these edges, clean up this whole thing, which I should have done first, but you can see there's a lot of scaly rust here that I need to clean out. There's not a huge amount I can do with that apart from taking it right back. After that, when these are all settled and finalized, I'll go through and clean up the inside of the rails, get the thicker wire out in the MIG, and go through and weld all these up. Straighten that, which is annoying me. It's odd because it's on both sides, so I'm not sure there. And then it's all clean everything up, and then I can clamp everything back up into place, double check, triple check, and then start with the welding. One thing I should have added probably in the first video where I started cutting up and I put this thing on the frame. Something I didn't take into account is the crossmember itself is quite a tall unit from the top up here down to the bottom under here. It's quite a tall piece, and it makes it a lot easier if you could slide that out to do chassis work, the inside of the framework, and that. I didn't take that into account. I put the frame as close as I could to the chassis frame, whatever you want to call it, the dolly, the trolley. So I've got this cross member here, where that is now, I can't actually slide the cross member all the way out because I put the cross member in and then drop the truck onto the frame. Rookie move, don't do that. I probably should have mentioned that earlier in case someone decides to do the same. I know a couple of people are doing it, and I'm going to message them and say just think about that. We'll take that into account. So if these legs here were a bit longer and the chassis was higher off the table, then it wouldn't be an issue. I can still get around it, I can still work around it. It just makes it a little bit more painful for me. And gives you guys something to laugh at, I suppose. But other than that, I'll continue on, get it all cleaned up and tacked up and fit into place, and I'll see what I'm working with. Cut this one off here, guys. It's a bit abrupt, I know. I've actually finished editing pretty much everything to do with the front end on the truck out there. I'm trying to keep these relatively relatively brief and not drag them out, but I'm going into a lot of detail on the front installation on the front end of the truck because there's been a lot of interest in it on Facebook and that sort of thing, and if you guys are keen to see what's going on and what's actually involved in doing it yourself, so I have gone into quite a bit of detail which draws things out, and I've done a lot of cutting and trying to just keep the basics, but I've still got like 50 minutes of stuff to put out, so I'm just going to do it pretty much all at once. I'm just cutting it into 4 videos, so part 1, 2, 3, 4 of the front end installation, so that way you can just watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it, and not have to try and sit through a prolonged agony of listening to me talk about that thing out there. But no, I want to try to keep these relative, like 15 minutes max sort of thing, but try and still cover a lot. So I'm just going to do that with this. So I'll leave this one here. I'll put these 4 out over the next couple of days. This thing behind me, I've got a bit of work to do on this. I want to fire this up, get this going again. So I've already started doing some stuff on that, and I'll do a bit more in the morning, I think. But yeah, so there'll be the four parts on the truck on the front end. That's done. I'll try and squeeze a bit of the coupe in there because I know there's a few that are actually interested in that thing as well, including myself. And I've already started on the next part of it. Well, it's a bit more on that end of the truck, the more interesting stuff. Well, still interesting stuff, but it's moving along quite quickly, and quicker than I've got time to edit videos. So I'll get them out when I can. I don't want to put them all out at once. I don't want to overload everyone, and I need to space it out anyway. But yeah, so these 4 will be out pretty quick. Thanks for watching. It is appreciated. It's cool to know you guys are into it. So I appreciate the comments as well, the likes and comments, especially the comments. And I'll try and get this thing done. Cheers.